Next kwa mlango naona nani? Michael. In red. In a red garment. Na akaniambia tu maneno matatu. La kwanza, Lucas nimekuja. La pili, weka kidole juu ya meza. Mimi nikaweka mkono. He became furious that I've never seen. Akaniambia nimesema put your toe here. Nikachukua mguu nikaweka kwa meza. Tulikuwa na meza ya mbao. Na akachomoa panga. Na akaenda kwa kidole kimoja na akakata tu hiyo. The next thing I saw, it was blood, myself, my feet, and a toe that was cut. I still have it up to now. Let me start by giving you a brief history of my encounter with Michael as a person. I think I first encountered Michael when I was very young, but I didn't know him. I didn't understand Michael. And I encountered Michael in series of occasions, in several occasions. But I was so young, I could not differentiate Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and others. I remember one time when I was in class 5, it was special 5, Mkuru Primary School. We used to have a class behind the school. There was a small space that they had left on the fence. So they created a special class. Being that I was from the streets, they didn't, and I was very clever, they didn't know where exactly to place me. So in school we had these special classes. The special classes were meant for street boys or street children who had been picked from the streets and they were of different age. And so they could be put in those special classes in order to gauge their strength. Then from there they could be transferred to the normal classes. So I had been picked from the street. I was taken to special class 2. They gave me an exam. I scored, they gave me 4 exams. And out of the 4 exams, each was 100 marks. So it was supposed to be 400 in total. I scored 359. So they didn't know where to place me because they just picked me from the street. Father John found me in a place called Bama preaching. And so he was very shocked to see a young man preaching and people were throwing money there for me. And when people were done, he walked to me. He parked his vehicle. It was a G-Touring white in color. He parked his vehicle, then he walked. Where the bridge, right now, Bama, hapo mahali wameka bridge. It used to be, mbele yake, it used to be a place ya kuuza makuku. Watu walikuwa wanauzanga makuku. That's where I was preaching that time. Hiyo flyover yetu ilikuwa imejengwa. So he came and asked me, young man, what can I do for you? Then I told him I want to go to school. Then he asked me, if I take you to school, can you sit and learn? I said yes. Then he told me, okay, get into the vehicle. I was ish, but I finally got into the vehicle when he told me he was a Catholic father. So I got into the vehicle. He drove all the way to Mkuru. There is a school in Mkuru called Mkuru Primary School. Ilikuwa ya Sisters of Mercy. The founder was called Sister Mary. I think she died. She was a Canadian. She died. And so I was taken there, and I was taken to class 2 because I was of age, and they didn't know where exactly. Because when he asked me if I'd ever gone to school, nilimwambia I went to school, a nursery school back in my village called Ebkutenga Nursery School. That was the class I'd ever stepped into. And so they gave me the exam in short because of time today. My time is very limited. And I passed, and then from there I was taken to normal class 4. So in this normal class 4, I had a very loving friend called Fulding Oluoch. He was my heartbeat. So I was in school, out of school, in school, out of school, in class, out of class. I could disappear for 2 weeks. I'm preaching. I come 2 days. I'm in school. I disappear for 3 weeks. So I disappeared for a whole term. And it was a 3rd term. So when I came back, it was the new year, the following year. And Akina Fulding had been taken to class 5. So I was told to repeat. That one, I didn't like it. I didn't like. So when I was told to repeat, I didn't like it. So because there was another class 5, special 5, I took myself to special 5. Because Fulding cannot go to class 5 na mimi nabaki kwa class 4. No, we have to be all of us in class 5. So I took myself to class 5. Now, there one day, Michael appeared to me while I was in class 5, special 5, nyuma mti huko. And Michael talked to me about some issues on one of our class teacher. Her name was Pamela Di Jambori, a Meru teacher. Pamela never liked me. At one point, she never liked me. So she was teaching us mathematics. And we used to have a young man called Karanja, who was very sharp in math. So Karanja was the only problem I had in that class, because he was very bright also, very bright. And I think in my entire life, I only had 3 people who ever gave me a hard time in my education. It was Karanja. Then we used to have a boy called Njuguna and Baraza. Yes, those are the 3. So, as she was teaching us, Michael appeared. And Michael told me, Lucas, this Mwalim, yes, the husband is going to die today. The husband is going to die today. Save the husband. So, I just stood up. Nikamwambia, Mwalim, bwana wako anaenda kukufa. So Mrs. Pamela came to me. Alinichapa kofi mpaka maji moto ikatoka ndani ya masikio. She slapped me until I felt some hot water coming out of my ears. Hot water. The slap she gave me. Lucas, umesema nini? Kabla nijibu, kofi yenye nilikula, nilisikia huku ni moto. I felt some heat. And I felt something hot coming out of my ear. When I did like this, it was some hot water. This side. I didn't speak anything. I kept quiet. And she didn't ask me, but she heard the voice. At night, by exactly 9 p.m., she received a message. She was in school. The following day, she was in school. Then a phone rings in school. And then she's called. And she was in our class. And immediately she left, something told me what you were told yesterday. When she went to the staff room, to the office, she received a call that the husband was coming from Meru, na lori ya makaa, na lori kaanguka, na amevunjika into 3 pieces, and he's dead. The husband was coming from Meru with a lorry full of charcoal, and the lorry rolled, and the man broke into 3 pieces, and he was announced dead right away from the scene. I was called into the staff room, and Pamela asked me, "You said something yesterday, Lucas." Because I thought she's going to slap me again. Up to where I've reached as a prophet, I've gone through a lot of intimidations and torture. Sometimes I see people making noise. They call themselves mighty prophet, great prophets. But truly, before the world accepts you as a prophet, it will test you by wounds. I've gone through a lot. So me, I thought she wanted to slap me again. So I kept quiet. She told me, "Oh, I'm not going to beat you. In fact, I'm very sorry. What you said yesterday, it has happened." They had only 1 child. I think by then, if I was a man of age, probably Mrs. Pamela would have been my wife. Because from there, even if I could cough in the class, she could, "Prophet, Lucas, what are you saying?" No, I was just coughing. Oh. Because, and after that scene of slapping me and the death of the husband, Mrs. Pamela went through torture until her body was full of scars. Upele. Not only did she lose the husband, but she got a punishment from heaven. Until one day I went to her and I told her, "Mwalim, you are suffering because of me. The slap, you slapped me." Then she asked me, "How?" Then I told her, I know you are a Catholic, but there's something you don't know. The Bible says you should not touch a prophet. Then she asked me, are you a prophet? I said, yes, I'm a prophet. Can I prove to you I'm a prophet? Then she told me, Lucas, go ahead. I counted the names of her sibling, her mother, her sister, her bank account. Then I told her, today at 3, you will be terminated from the work. But 40 minutes after that, you will be reinstated again. Thank God that Sister Mary will come while you are still at the door. And she will come dressing in blue. Don't let her go. Tell her you have been sacked from job by Mrs. Ndungu. That day, she was called by Mrs. Ndungu. Pamela, we have received complaints. You are confusing students. She was still a young lady after all. You know, and she was sacked. While she was at the gate, Sister Mary comes in blue. Then she tells Sister Mary, I've been sacked, I'm a widow, and I have a child. And Sister Mary says, you are the lady who lost your husband. Yes. I sent you 50,000. Did you receive it? And she said, I received nothing. Then sister goes straight to Mrs. Ndung. Where is the money I sent to this lady? Oh, the money was still here. We were still collecting. You have buried your husband? Yes. 2 weeks down the line? Yes. They have not given you the money? Yes. Mrs. Ndungu, if you give her that money now, what is it going to help her with? You told me you have been sacked? Yes. Now from today you are the senior teacher of this school. That's how it happened. From there, she discovered I was a prophet. We became so good friends, family friends, until she was almost getting married by one of my uncle. I don't know what happened between two of them. We will ask each other when we get in heaven. Because my uncle is alive, but I've never seen Mrs. Pamela again. But what I know is that she became a family friend until at one point, one of my uncle was actually marrying her. Me, I don't know what happened. And that was my first encounter with Michael. Now as Michael. But still, even in class 5, do you know what I said? God has appeared to me. Because I didn't know how to differentiate angels and God. So I used to call angels God. Until one day in class, I told class, you know what? God has just left here. And he has given me the answers for the exams, which are coming. And when people heard me saying God, they all laughed at me. Because nobody can see God. I remember Karanja telling me, Lucas, wacha kutuenjoy hapa. Biblia inasema hakuna mtu anaweza ona Mungu naishi. The Bible says that. So I argued with them, telling them, I see God and I've been seeing God from my childhood. And when did I start seeing angels? Out of torture, rejection of family. I was rejected, tortured. Actually, I was an outcast into my family. I was never loved. And that was the main reason why I ended up in the street. I went through a lot of torture. And so, many a times, my mother never allowed me to play with my siblings back at home because of what they used to do. And also, my siblings, my uncles, my cousins, their parents never allowed me to play with them. And so I had 2 curfews. One from my mother. When she finds me playing with them, she will beat me. And 2 from them, they will torture me. And that's the reason why my mother never wanted me to play with them, because of what they will do unto me. I remember even there was one day, one of my uncle, who is late today, forced me to eat his waist. You can't believe that. His name was Johanan Dakalu. He died some years ago. He forced me to eat his waist. And trust me, I did. Because the beating I was given. I've come from far with life. But I thank God because God placed these things in my life so that it could teach me to be humble. Sometimes I look at people, I look at things, I look at what prophets do. I look at myself and I say, my pain was the best school I ever had. And truly, if I would have not gone through that, I really doubt even today if I would still be serving the Lord. With humility, humbleness, no spirit of war, you hit me from whenever direction you want, I have no problem with you. Me, I have no problem with you. I only fight when heavens allows me to fight. And when heaven grants me a war, my war is unreversible. You will not like it. But as long as heavens have not engaged me in war, I'm one person. I will allow you to do anything you want to do to me, and I don't care. The reason why I don't care is because my focus is on nothing but Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I focus on nothing but Jesus. And so I have no time to hold grudges. And if I will fight any battle, then I will fight for my God. I fight for nothing beyond my God. And so, due to this kind of torture, you know, some of things I even forgot. I normally remember some of the things when I stand. Donaanza kukumbuka, kuna wakati pia walinifanyanga hivi, you know. And so, my mom reached a point whereby one day one of my uncle did something and akanipiga mimi na mama yangu. So due to that my mama akaweka barrier. Akasema akinipata nacheza na ndugu zangu, wajomba wangu, rika zangu, akinipata ataniita tu polepole, Lucas kuja. Nikienda kwa nyumba nafunga mlango. So mom started training me to be alone. And I thank God because her school has made me. I'm a person with many friends, but I have no friend. And if I have friends, are my own spiritual sons and daughters, the people I'm ministering to. But pastors will meet, hi, and that's it. I have no time to make somebody a tight friend, neither do I have time to make somebody a real enemy. And if I have friends, they are the people that I'm walking with in this journey of salvation, who sits down to learn from me. You are my friend. And by virtue that I was born the only child also in my family, you are not just a friend. You are the sister I've never had. You are the brother I've never had. So anytime I see you as a sister, I see you as a brother, I see you as a friend, and I see you the relative that I have ever known. Because also from my mom's side, she was born alone. My father to my mother was a great chief in Tanzania. My mother is a Tanzanian. So my grandfather never had children. So one day he went to pay a visit to his sister. And then he was introduced to this young lady who is the mother to my mother. And during those days, people used to mingle. So this young lady was told to go and take care of the visitor. I don't know what happened. It's them who knows. But one thing I know is that the lady conceived. And my grandfather having 6 women and he never had children. And this lady has conceived. My mother became the joy of my grandfather. Later, my grandfather was murdered. Actually, if you go to Tanzania, all the land from Tarime, going down paka makaburini kule kwa Zungu, it's written on my name. That is my land. Because I'm the only grandchild that my grandfather left out of his 7 wives. The land was transferred to my mother. Then according to Courier's law, it was transferred to me. But I'm not interested. I'm interested with Christ. Many a times people have called me to go there, but I'm not interested. I'm interested with Jesus Christ. And so my mom kept these barriers on me. And so I started living a lonely life, playing alone. And that's when angels started appearing to me. That was the introduction of angels to me. So they could come with playing toys and we start playing. They start teaching me things of Abraham, David, Gideon. I didn't know these things were in the Bible. So I ended up growing, knowing this information very well. So when I went to Mkuru, I didn't know how to differentiate angel and God because they were coming in the same pattern, same glory, same attire, and I was that small and I couldn't differentiate them. It was until 1996, during World Cup. Before that, before 96, 1987, around there, a place called in industrial area, Enterprise Road, Team Cells. There is another road, it's called Acuva Road, going to Kijiji, Lunga Lunga. Then there is a fire station there called Mazimamoto, if you know the place. We were coming from Makongeni with my mother. My grandfather was in Makongeni. He was an engineer, the father to my dad, Kenyan dad. And we were coming from there. While we were in Makongeni, I was playing with a matchbox as a vehicle. Then I went to a corner. Then from the wall, there was fire. And the fire, inside the fire, there was an image of a man in white. And the man told me, Lucas, tell your mother, you are going to die today. But because of you, she will not die. You are going to be knocked by the vehicle. So I left the matchbox and I turned to my mom. And I told my mother, Mom, tunaenda kukufa. Tunaenda kugongwa na gari. My mom rebuked me. Ni nini unasema wewe? Ni nini unasema hapa tunaenda kukufa? Hebu funga hiyo mdomo wako kama ni kugonge. So, kwa sababu hutaki kugongwa, nafunga mdomo. Nikafunga mdomo. When we reached industrial area, that place, team cells, I always see the place in my eyes. A pickup, Ford. Yo pickup ilikuwa na mamacho zimekuja mbele hivi. It was used to be Ford, yeah? Ford. It was being driven by a Kalasinga. Ilinigonga, nikagonga my mom. My mom akaanguka huko, nikapiga kichwa kwa barabara na Kalasinga akakuja akapiga break juu ya kichwa wangu. Tile kakanyaga kichwa wangu. Watu waliinua hivi. I didn't have even a scratch. But my mom up to date, she is lame. She can't walk for a long distance. When you walk with her a long distance, unaona utaanza kuona anavuta mguu. Ukimuuliza anakuambia mguu ni accident. Tuligongwa na Lucas kidogo tukufe. And Lucas told me before that thing happened. But mimi pickup ilisimamia juu ya kichwa changu. They lifted. Watu walishika wakatoa. While we were going to the hospital, the same angel appeared to me and told me, I've healed you. Take nothing from that man. When we reached there, I told my mom, we are not taking any money from this person. We didn't take even a single cent from that Kalasinga. Later, that Kalasinga followed us and picked my father and gave my father a job. He was the owner of Kenply Kenya Limited. He was the director, the CEO of Roblalak Paints. Yes. His name was Gaddafi. Evidence are there. You can go and search. You go there and ask if they ever had an employee called Grado. They will tell you yes. My father lost his job when he stole some cement with another Kamba guy from Kenply. Why should I cheat? Because that thing was torturing that man, that boy. He said, I should not be charged anything. What can I do? So when he came looking for me, he found my dad. I told him, patia baba yangu kazi. Kasema nitampatia kazi. Baba yako amesoma mpaka wapi? Baba yangu anajua tu kuandika jina yake peke yake. So my father was working there until when that incident happened. That was my second encounter with Michael. I'm counting my journey with Michael. Now the third time was 1996. There was some World Cup, 1996. It was during that time when Michael one day came into the house on Friday at night. And when he came, there are some words he told me, and I didn't like those words. And I started beating him. So I took hold of him, nikamwangusha, na nikakaa juu yake. So I was beating him, I fall, aguzane na mchanga, but he was on the air. It was not a dream, it was happening. Don't say prophet was dreaming. I was not dreaming, it was happening. Even the door was open. My father was drunk, anangorota kungorota. Because by that time I'd come back. There are times I could stay with my dad, then I ran away again. I go back into the street. My life was that way. Home, out, home, out. And so I fought with Michael until when he was done. I was done. Akaniuliza umechoka? Akamwambia nimechoka. Then he told me, get off. So I came out of him. I stood. Akaniambia, kesho nitakuja saa 8 and I will show you something that you will never forget, and you will talk about it until the day you will go to the grave. Come and close the door. So he went. I went and closed the door. After closing the door, ndo babangu anaamka. Na ulevi yake ananiambia, nimekula kweli? Namwambia umekula. Hiyo mchezo yako utaona. Shangu mtu alikuwa anangorota hapa, alijuaje tunacheza hapa? Because kuna venye nyumba ilikuwa pia during that war. Kuna venye vitu zilikuwa zimetana upside down. Yeah. The following day was on a Saturday. Saa 8 kamili my father asubuhi akanambia, "Wende ununulie mguu ya ng'ombe." Alikuwa anapenda mguu ya ng'ombe. Nikaenda mahali kule kwa kijiji, kuna mahali inaitwa Crescent, Kayaba. It was a Muslim hospital. Nikaenda huko nikanunua miguu ya ng'ombe. Nikakuja nikamtengenezea vizuri, akakuja saa 7 akala. Alipokula kumaliza hivyo akanambia, "Lucas, hii mchezo unacheza utakuja kuona." Saa 8 kamili akirudi kazini hivi daktari, king'ora ikalia. Ikimaliza niko kwa nyumba nimekaa kwa kitanda ya spring. Next kwa mlango naona nani? Michael. In red. In a red garment. Na akaniambia tu maneno matatu. La kwanza, "Lucas, nimekuja." La pili, "Weka kidole juu ya meza." Mimi nikaweka mkono. He became furious that I've never seen. Akaniambia, "Nimesema put your toe here." Nikachukua mguu nikaweka kwa meza. Tulikuwa na meza ya mbao. Na akachomoa panga. Na akaenda kwa kidole kimoja na akakata tu saa hiyo. The next thing I saw, it was blood, myself, my feet, and a toe that was cut. I still have it up to now. If you are interested, you come, I will show you. I have a toe that Michael alikata kwa mguu yangu. Mimi nina vidole 19. Huku juu nina 10, huku chini nina 9. Huku ni 5, huku ni 4. The same finger. Venye aliniambia tu wake up, nikaweka. He removed a sword and he chopped it. And he told me, "I'm gone." I was injected 45 needles, syringe za tetanus. 45. Nilikuwa nagonga hiyo mfupa hivi, nasikilia kwa kichwa hivi. Unasikia venye kitu nafanya? That is how. Nilikuwa nagonga hiyo mfupa, nasikia hapa. Nikigonga chini nasikia hapa. I was injected 45 tetanus injection. 45. Na bado kidole imekatika, nimefunga na bandage, na nikiona mpira siachani nayo. Bado nitagonga kidogo. Mpaka siku hiyo kidole ilikauka. Mimi mwenyewe nikabeba ile kidole ilikatwa hivi, nikatupa kwa. Niliweka hiyo kitu for almost 3 months. Mpaka ika shrink. Kakakuwa ka kitu kingine ka black, kangumu. Nikaenda nikatupa kwa mto. How I wish I would have kept it up to date. I don't know how it would have looked like, but I will be telling people, this is it. This is it. And Michael told me, "I am gone and I will come back after 2 years. And you will do